Hey, it's Aurelius. Welcome back to the channel. What if I told you you can replace a lot of the repetitive and frustrating, cumbersome tasks that you do on a day-to-day with AI agents? Well, in this video, I'm going to teach you step-by-step all about AI agents and how you can set your AI agents starting today. Here's an AI agent that I built myself, and this was to fill a major pain point of mine. Usually when I post YouTube videos on my channel, before I post it, I need to come up with YouTube titles, a description, tags, timestamps, and even post-production content such as an email newsletter to announce about that new video. So my process was quite cumbersome. I had to go from one platform to another, switching back and forward, and there was a lot of thinking in between. So for example, I had to go onto ChatGPT and prompt it, "You're a YouTube expert, come up with some AI titles based on this keyword," and there you go, you've got some titles. And then I had to prompt ChatGPT once again for a description, timestamps, and much, much more. But now with this AI agent that I built in, I'd say less than a day, I built this where I can take a YouTube video URL, let's say this latest video right here, copy the YouTube link, go back to the form, click on submit, and what it will do, you can see that it's running through the AI agent, connecting with OpenAI, sticking with my brand voice when outputting the content, goes through a proofreader AI agent before it actually submits all the content to me in a Google Doc. And voila, it's come up with the video titles for me, a video description, timestamps, thumbnail ideas, keywords, and an email newsletter. This would otherwise take me an hour or two to do, but now I simply plug in that YouTube URL and it's done. And that's just a really simple example of using AI agents in your workflow and day-to-day. What I'm going to show you now is how to set your own AI agent to do the tasks that you want to delegate and get done. And I'll also show you how to do it in the most simplest and basic way so it doesn't get too technical. There's no code required. So let's get started. Before we move on, I do want to explain in the most basic and simplest of terms without any jargon, the difference between AI agents and large language models such as ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and many of the other popular ones. So with AI agents, you can take those existing platforms such as ChatGPT and instruct it to do other things like reasoning and thinking and reiterating different things that you've prompted before so that you actually get the output that you want and you're not in the middle making those decisions. Usually with tools like ChatGPT, you enter a prompt and then you're given an answer. And that's simply put how it all works. Think of AI agents as your personal assistant, employee, or staff working for you, hence the word agent. With it, you can connect to different models. You can also connect different tools. You're not limited to just Google Docs, which is what I did. You can connect it to things like Slack, Notion, your CRM, sales systems, and much more. And then you can connect it with different nodes to make this whole cycle work in harmony. It's different to other workflow systems such as Zapier and Make, where it's all kind of linear in a way where here's the action to take, and if this is the answer, then do this. And that's simply it. There's no reasoning in between and other complexities that you can put into it, which is where AI agents come in. But the question is, how do you even start creating and building these AI agents? Well, the most popular platform is called n8n. n8n is an open source workflow automation tool that allows users to connect apps, services, and APIs with a visual node-based interface. It enables automation of tasks, data processing, and integration between different systems without coding, offering flexibility and customization for various use cases. So if you're someone like a creator posting content online, you can get n8n or AI agents to post on your behalf and, of course, come up with the content first before posting. For businesses, it could mean lead capturing, lead nurturing, customer support, where you've got a chatbot on your website and it knows what your company is all about, its brand voice, and knows how to answer certain questions. And for everyday people people, even if you're not a business or entrepreneur, you can use it in your day-to-day. I'm even thinking about creating a workflow that connects my work band and tracks my fitness, and then I can make adjustments to my day-to-day activities, and that just will mean a whole lot more in terms of improving my health and well-being. All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of setting up your AI agent. So I showed you n8n, right? n8n is independently a website and they are open source, which means that other services can host n8n. If you do subscribe via n8n, they do have some pricing and plans, but before you close this video and move away, this isn't what we want, right? What we want is a self-hosted n8n server. So for that, I recommend Hostinger, which offers this type of support, and of course n8n. It ends up being a lot more affordable, as you can see, and I can tell you that performance is much better because you get to scale and you get to choose what kind of server you want depending on the performance that you need and the workflows that you are wanting to put into the server. It also gives you full control, and also what's important is, of course, security and privacy. Because it is your own server, it's hosted on a VPS, which is essentially your own. You're not sharing that web hosting with other users. It just means that all of your workflows and any data that's on your site is and remains private. So if you check out the description box below, you'll land on this page where you can see the self-hosted n8n server. There are 4 plans in particular: KVM 1, 2, 4, and 8. For the majority of us, I would recommend KVM 2 since it has the performance necessary to run the workflows that we want, and you're able to scale with multiple workflows. So all you would need to do is click on Choose Plan, choose your period. Of course, the more months you go with, the more you will save. Down below, you'll see server location. Choose one that's closest to you or your audience. So we can, in this case, choose our location and then select your operating system. This is where you can choose the n8n server. And there's also n8n with the built-in workflows. There's over 100. So if you do want to choose that, go with that, confirm. Under order summary, you'll see have a coupon code. I've actually hooked you up with a special discount. So if you simply enter Aurelius, click on apply, you will save further. Once done, continue and check out. If you do happen to go through an alternate setup method, it should kind of look like this, where you then select your location once again, you select the operating system, and once done, your VPS will be set up. On your Hostinger dashboard, you can see the homepage with a list of perhaps your websites and hosting, but you will see VPS right there. And what we're going to do is click on Manage and then click on Manage App. This will take you to the overview page in n8n. And what we're going to first do is create a workflow. And this is essentially where we begin on this canvas. For this demonstration, we're going to create something simple like the YouTube system that I've built here, except in a simpler form, but it'll give you a good idea of how you can start your own AI agent and workflow. First, go up, and then we're going to rename this to YouTube System Demo. All right, this is just for demonstration purposes, but name it whatever you want that's relevant. As a note, anything that you're starting new and you have no knowledge on can get quite technical and overwhelming, which is why this video exists. I want to make it as simple as possible to explain to you, because I did many hours of research playing around with n8n myself to get to the point where I am now. But let's go ahead. We're going to create the first step. You can start by clicking this, and then that pulls up all of the triggers and the nodes. As an alternate, you can go and click the plus sign. That should bring that same window up. There are a number of triggers you can start with, let's say on a particular schedule, a date and time. Let's say you want to get the latest AI news or the latest news about your industry. You can do something like that. So each morning you get a list and a digest of the latest news. So that would make sense in those instances. And also things like when you're posting content on social media, you want it on specific dates and times. You can use this specific trigger. But I'm not going to go through each and every trigger. What we're going to do is click on form submission. This is where it can get pretty overwhelming because there's so many fields and you don't know what each of them represents. But what we're going to start with is a form title. This is for your own reference anyway. You're not going to be using this, allowing public people to use it, unless you do want it in that case. But I'm just going to call this YouTube system, and then form description, give it a description, but I'll just leave that blank. Next, we're going to add form fields. So this could be anything like the first name, last name, emails. But in this particular instance, all we are needing is the YouTube video URL. So we'll put in YouTube link and then this will be a text element, and then there's no placeholder. Of course, it's a required field since there's only one. You can add as many fields as you want. So this could be a contact form if you are creating that. But for now, that is all I need. I'm going to click away outside of this gray box, and there we go. We've got it right there. The thing with n8n is it doesn't auto save, which is quite baffling because it's quite an advanced tool, but at the same time, they're a little bit backwards with that. They should auto save and have, that ability. But in this instance, we have to click on save and then it will save. All right, moving on to the next node, which is the YouTube transcriptor. This is an API. This is the complex, or can be complex, right? But I'll show you how to do it. What this does is it will look at that video, find any transcripts, and then take that transcript word for word so that it feeds it to the AI agent, which in this case is connected with our ChatGPT OpenAI account, so that it actually has some context to put out output. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on plus. So after form submission, this happens, right? So what we are looking for is the HTTP request. It's requesting, it's calling another website outside of our server. But before we move forward, I do want to show you alternate kind of ways and nodes that you can connect with. If we click on the plus again, and let's say you want to connect to your Notion workspace. If you search for Notion, it's built in to n8n, plus a whole heap of other popular platforms. Let's say Active Campaign. So it will connect to it. It'll give you options as well, such as if this happens, then create an account, add this person, update this person, delete this contact, and many more actions that can happen. But in this instance, we are using a third-party integration, which is why we need to call it. So what we're going to do is click that and then click on post. This is also a good scenario that I want to show you, because if that integration or that platform is not built into n8n, then this is the alternate way. Many websites do offer API access and access for developers so that they can use their backend system to retrieve, post, and get certain information from that platform or tool, which is exactly what we are doing. We are calling this YouTube transcription plugin, this integration, so that we can grab the transcription of the YouTube video. We're going to a third-party site called Rapid API, and this is where you can search for APIs for a number of tasks that you want accomplished. But what we're going to do is click on the HTTP request node that we just inserted, and then we're going to change it to post, and then in the URL field, what we're going to do, I'm going to give you the URL to YouTube Transcriptor AI in the description box below so that you can come here. Now, as a note, it is a paid API. However, there's a basic version where $0 for a limited number of calls to it, but I've just subscribed to it. It's worth it for me. It saves me a lot of time and it does a job. So with this, what we're going to do is you're just going to have to sign up for a Rapid API account, and then you make sure that you choose a plan. Usually it's whatever it is. You'll see a button called subscribe to test. You need to make sure you click that, all right, so that you're actually subscribed and can use that particular API. This is for a different one because I've already subscribed to this. And then what I'm going to do is provide the rest of the details in the description box below so that you know what to add. And then that way it'll save you some time. We're going to enable send headers, enter these following details, add another parameter. This time it's for your API key. To grab your API key, go to your Rapid API account, go to workspace, and then where it says my subscriptions, look for that API that you just subscribed to. In this case, it's this one for me, and then you'll see the key right here. Next, what we're going to do is also enable send body, and then we're going to select form data, insert video URL in this particular way. Now you've got your YouTube transcriptor ready to go. However, we do need to test this out. So at this point, each of the nodes that you do add, it's a good idea to just test it out, make sure that it's working. So what we're going to do is click on execute workflow. We're going to start with the form submission. I'm going to grab a YouTube video of mine, click on share, grab the link, go back to the form and click on submit. And on the back end, you'll see whether it's working or not. All right, so as you can see, an error occurred, and this was no coincidence since I basically copied and pasted the same values as I did on my original workflow. So you can see with any error that you get, and this is why I want to show this, and this was intentional, it says cannot read properties. It usually gives you an explanation, and I did promise that you don't need to code, and I still do promise promise you that, because what you're going to do is look for any values or anything that is in red in the fields. And then this is the error, right? Because it's not recognizing this particular value since it refers to my previous one. So what we're going to do is, this is the video URL. So this is the correct link for it. So you can see that it says YouTube video URL. This was in fact my old value from my original workflow. So rather than that, I'm just going to delete it and then drag the right value into the value field right here. Now you can see it's in green and we can click away and test it again. I'll click on submit and let's see if we get a green. And there we go, workflow executed successfully. We can move on to the next step, and that is to add our actual AI agent. So by clicking plus, we are going to go AI and then click on AI agent. An AI agent consists of 3 elements. Number 1 is a chat model. This is the brain of the AI agent. You need to plug it into some sort of large language model such as ChatGPT. It could also be Claude or other models like DeepSeek. And then you've got memory. This is exactly what the name suggests. It's a memory. It's to do with memorizing anything that has been submitted to something like a chatbot. Since we're not using a chatbot, we're not going to be making use of a memory. But for instance, if you do have a chatbot where on your website, you've got your potential customers chatting away to the chatbot and saying, hey, my name's John, and then it'll memorize that so that the next time when the AI agent responds to that customer, it can refer and reference to that name and then reply back with that name. And then you've got tools where you can plug in any CRM, Notes, Notion, anything you want. In this case, I've got a Google Doc with what I created. So you can very well search up Google Docs, click that, and then you do need to add credentials, which is another step. Creating credentials only needs to be done once. And of course, all of these workflows need to be just done once, which is the beauty of it. The hard part is actually setting it up. So if you click on create new credential, this is the next step, how to add credentials. Now, what you can do is look at the information and the docs to give instructions on how to set it up. So you've got the client ID and then client secret. Usually when adding credentials, it will tell you and guide you on how to do it. If you click on open docs, it'll give you instructions on how to get your credentials. So step 1, create a Google Cloud Console and then enable APIs. So it's got a good set of instructions for you to follow in a step-by-step fashion. So you can see where to click on, where to go to get your API keys and everything else. And once you do have those credentials, add it in, and then you'll see it listed under credential to connect with. So I've connected mine already. And then once you've connected it, you're then given more options. And because it is a Google Doc, what I can do is do things like create a doc. I can get a doc updated, custom API call as well. But what I've done is to get a doc so that it's looking into that for knowledge and notes that I may have, such as my brand voice. This very doc, as you can see, with information on my brand voice and my branding. And you would simply get the URL to your doc by clicking on share, grab that URL, entering it, pasting it right here. It says doc ID or URL. And then you've got that tool connected up to your AI agent. You can then add more and more tools so that you can reference to those and connect it up and work according to those references. Otherwise, it has nothing to reference to. Now, for the chat model, you want to add it, and here are a list of chat models to select from. You got Anthropic's chat model, which is the Claude LLM, and then you've got DeepSeek, you got Gemini, but the one that we want is OpenAI's chat model. And once again, simply connect your OpenAI account. This is your developer account, so you can use its API. And to create and get your API key for OpenAI, simply head to platform.openai.com. I'll also link it in the description box below. And then once you're there, click on API keys, create a new secret key, name it. This could be n8n server, select a project. And what you're going to want to make sure you do is record and take note of that API key, since once you've created it, you can't retrieve it unless you create a new one. And once you've connected up your credential for OpenAI, simply select your GPT model. There's quite a number to choose from, so you can also choose 4.1 or 4.0, which is quite stable at this time. And then that's it. You've connected up your brain, or in other words, your OpenAI's chat model. And then the next path, to keep it simple, is to connect it up with another Google Doc. We're going to update a document, an existing one. Make sure you've connected your credentials. Once again, we're going to choose a resource as a document, operation update, and then link up that particular doc that you want updated. In this case, this is the doc that I want updated. If you click on share, you want to make sure that general access, that anyone with the link has editor rights, copy the link. And of course, if you are doing it this way, make sure whatever it outputs does not have any sensitive information. And then you paste it in right here. And then under actions, this is where you can control what actually gets put on to your Google Doc. Now, we don't know what we're going to put yet because we need to execute the previous step. So all of these, just for this example, I'm just going to delete this reference brand voice document since we are not going to use it, but you can, of course, connect it to whatever tools that you want. Now, before we move on, we do need to give a set of instructions and prompts and the AI agent on what we actually want OpenAI to do. So we'll click that. And then where it says connected chat trigger node, what we're going to do is define below. This is where you enter your AI prompt. As you normally would using ChatGPT, you would prompt it saying, hey, I need a 500-word guide or article on X subject. This is exactly what you want. In this instance, let's use a really simple example, such as give me 5 key takeaways from this video. And as a reminder, what we are doing is, number one, on the form submission, we're entering a YouTube URL. It then takes it to this third-party API and it's calling the YouTube transcriptor to transcribe that video so that we've got a word-for-word form that gets sent to the AI agent, feeds OpenAI with that content, and then prompting it, hey, give me 5 key takeaways from this video. It will then take it to the Google Doc with those 5 key takeaways. And that's exactly what we are going to do. We're going to execute the workflow, paste in a YouTube URL, click on submit, see if we get any errors. Hopefully not. But there we go. We did have an error. That's because we do need to update one of the fields, which is the text right here. Now we have all the inputs. Since we ran and executed the workflow until this point, we can see what the output is. And the text that we do want to put onto the Google Doc is right here. So this is the output field. We'll put it right there. However, I did notice that the output actually reads, I'm happy to help. Could you please provide the link to the video or share its content? So at this point, the AI agent doesn't actually know what that URL is. So what we can say is, give me 5 key takeaways from this video, and then we can put in the data right here. And that data was from the YouTube transcriptor, since we have the word-for-word content. So you can see here, hey, it's Aurelius if you're looking for a website builder, and that's what we want. Now we have something to reference to, and we'll exit that. Let's run the whole workflow once again. I'll paste in the URL, click on submit, go back, and we can see what's happening right now. Okay, so we've got all green ticks. Let's check the Google Doc. This is the Google Doc that I shared with the AI agent. And if we scroll all the way down the bottom, we can see the 5 key takeaways about that particular video. And that right there is quite a simple example. However, there wasn't any personalization involved. And that's where you go in and refine those elements. So if we click on AI agent, we can do things like system message and define the role of that AI agent. So you could act as an expert YouTube strategist or whatever it may be, depending on what you are working on. And that's exactly what system message is. If we highlight this, you can see the message that will be sent to the agent before the conversation starts, so that it's given some context first, it knows how to act, who to be. And this is also a great place to put in behavior, such as this is how you should act, and also where you can put in the voice and the tone of your writing. In my particular workflow, if you go here, we're going to look at the complete prompt, and you can see it's obviously more comprehensive. And I've also got the system message on how to act and some notes, write in first person, refer to my Google Doc for my brand voice, all this and that. So hopefully by now you can see the possibilities and how powerful an AI agent can be for you, especially if you're trying to save time on repetitive tasks. Once you add more tools that the AI agent can learn from, you just makes the output a lot more specific to your company or yourself. But hopefully with these foundational steps that I laid out in this video, you can create something as simple or as complex as you want to streamline your workflow for work or yourself. I'll link up all the sites, resources, and any settings and parameters that I use in the description box below for easy referencing. If you do have any questions about setting up your n8n server on Hostinger or AI agents in general, feel free to leave them in the comments field. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching, and hopefully this video has opened up a whole new world of possibilities that you can implement to your work and life. I'll see you next time.